All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the philosophical heart of a really unique story. And we're not just going to talk about the plot. We're going to explore the ideas that are kind of living in the fog between its pages.
I mean, this opening line, it's our way in, and it just sets the tone perfectly, doesn't it? Right away, it tells you we're not in some ordinary place. We're in a space that's defined by what's not said, by what you feel but can't quite see. It's a place built on atmosphere and ambiguity.
So let's talk about where exactly we are. The setting in this story is so much more than just a backdrop. You really have to think of the town as a living, breathing character, one that's defined by the fact that it just refuses to be understood.
And this really captures the town's whole vibe. This isn't just some remote village. It's practically a glitch in the system. It's a place where maps don't work, where time feels thick and weirdly inconsistent, and where the town generator is always about to die. You get the sense this is a refuge built on the very idea of decay.
So who actually lives in a place like this? Well, they're not really residents, are they? They're more like refugees. Every single one of them has run away from the modern world for their own reasons, and they're all wrestling with something deep inside. So, let's meet them.
So first up is Viktor, the so-called professor. He's our intellectual guide, a guy who tried to escape his old life only to stumble upon this brilliant paradox. You can't really disappear unless someone is around to notice you're gone. He's basically trapped in the performance of his own vanishing act.
Next up, we have Gregor, the ex-soldier. He's in town trying to escape a violent past, but he's constantly ready for it, always sitting with a clear view of the exits. His choice to leave the 21st century isn't some peaceful retirement, it's an active, daily struggle.
And then there's Lena. She is the young idealist, the revolutionary who shows up with all these grand theories and plans to build a better world. But the real kicker? She is trying to force a system onto a place that is fundamentally designed to resist all systems. The work is never finished because it can't ever really start. And finally, we've got Mira, the town doctor. And this quote just perfectly captures her whole internal conflict. She provides this incredible, life-saving medical care, but she does it without any real belief that it matters in the long run. She acts with compassion, but all she feels is the cold discipline of her training, which, makes you ask, does that make her care any less real?
So, into this incredibly fragile ecosystem of decay and managed despair walks the outside world. This is the moment everything gets shaken up, the moment the town is forced to actually look at itself and decide what, if anything, it's all about.
Meet Thomas Krell. On the surface, this guy looks like a savior. He comes in with data, with blueprints, with the promise of a future. We're talking high-speed internet, a new clinic, a stable economy. He wants to drag this town into the very world it so deliberately ran away from.
And Viktor, he just hits the nail on the head right away. Krell has all the facts and figures, GPS coordinates, financial models, but the town exists in the things you can't measure. The shared stories, the quiet rituals, the fog itself. This is a clash between two totally different ways of seeing the world.
So Krell's proposal isn't some simple yes or no question. It pushes the residents into a truly impossible situation. It's a choice between two different kinds of death for their town.
And here are the two paths laid out. I mean, look at this. On one hand, they can just say no and continue to slowly fall apart. The generator will finally give out, the clinic will run dry, and they will literally vanish off the map. But on the other hand, they can say yes and face this rapid transformation that turns their home into a soulless tourist trap they can't even afford to live in anymore. Either way, the town as they know it is gone.
In this question, this is what pushes us into the real core of the story. Are they trying to protect a genuine community? Or are they just protecting the comfortable ruins where they've all learned how to hide from the world? The answer is, well, it's not simple.
See, this whole conflict really comes down to one single philosophical idea, that weird, blurry line between what we say we believe and what we actually do day in and day out.
Let's call this concept performative authenticity. It's the key to understanding, everyone in this town. It's the idea that if you act like a doctor every single day, perfectly, without fail, does it matter if you don't feel like one on the inside? At what point does the performance just become who you are?
And you see this idea in every single character. You've got Viktor, the atheist, lighting candles in a church. Mira, the detached professional, saving lives. Anna, the cafe owner, whose backstory seems to change depending on who she's talking to. And Gregor, the man who wants peace, meticulously cleaning the tools of his violent past. They are all defined by that gap between their actions and their beliefs.
So when you look at it through that lens, the surveyor's proposal becomes so much more than just an economic choice. It forces us, and them, to ask some really deep questions about what makes a community and a life worth saving in the first place.
I mean, really think about that. Is this town a real community, or is it just a collection of broken people hiding out next to each other? Is a shared need to escape the world actually enough of a foundation to build something on?
And what about all their actions? If Viktor finds some kind of comfort in his empty prayers, and Mira's patients are healed by her dispassionate care, haven't those rituals created their own kind of truth, totally separate from the belief that's supposed to be behind them?
And this really is the ultimate question the story leaves us wrestling with. The people in this town live in this constant, difficult struggle. The surveyor offers them an easier, more comfortable life, but it might be a complete lie. So which one is more valuable? Which one is more human?
And in the end, we don't get a neat answer. We're just left with this lingering thought that maybe the town isn't a failure, and it's not a paradise either. Maybe it's just an honest look at what life is when you strip away all the big stories we tell ourselves. A life lived in the fog, moment by moment, without pretending it all has to add up to some grand purpose. And maybe that's the most meaningful thing of all.